Yo, what's going on YouTube? I'm Skar, and no, this is not a boombox. This is the Skar Tube 12. This is their 12-inch cylinder speaker, and I'm gonna put it down because this is heavy. Holy crap. This is a Skar SK12TBV. This is a tube-based type of system, 12-inch sub in here. I saw it on Amazon. I've been seeing it for a while, and I decided to pick one up myself and test it out because you don't see a lot of tube subwoofers very much anymore. I know they were very popular in the early 2000s. You don't see them very much anymore. You see more traditional styles like what I have in my car. So I picked this one up because I want to see how much of a bang for your buck it is. It's a fully loaded enclosure. So it has a 12 inside of here, and it's ported with some terminals on the back. They accept about 10 gauge, I'd say. So pretty good terminals on the back. Has a port here on the back that we'll talk about because it does have some issues. We'll get to that in a little bit later on the video. But this is a fully loaded enclosure from Skar. You can buy this for just over 150 bucks, and it's about 400 watts RMS, 800 watts peak. I have been listening to it on my way to my spot where I do all my demo videos away from everybody else, and it does actually sound pretty good. You guys will get to hear that in this video. So let me move this out of the way and show you what we're going to be using to power this bad boy. So usually I use the Sundown ZV6 as my main sub, but we are going to be powering the Skar sub with my Taramp Smart 5K. It's smart 1.2 ohms, gives me 5,000 watts. So we got to be careful with it because we don't want to blow this sub. And I do have a DSP here that I use to control all of my speakers, so I have it sounding nice and crisp. So we're gonna plug the SK to this 5,000 watt amplifier. We'll keep it modest on the volume. We'll give it all of the power that it can handle, but we won't go too much to where we're smelling it or potentially blowing it up. I do have some demo songs provided. I do have to slow the demo songs down for copyright reasons, so I'll try to give you guys a good idea of what it sounds like. So this is the 12-inch tube itself. I believe there's a 10-inch version and maybe even an 8-inch version that you can pick up. They're all relatively small enclosures, but they house different size subwoofers. I do have to say, Skar does make pretty good prefab boxes. This one's no exception. The carpet's really nicely done. The curve around it is really nice. And of course you have a nice stitched Skar audio logo here. On the back side, if I can get you guys to see it very well, you do have a vented type of port here, kind of a slot port almost. And then it is terminaled at the back, powered 1 and 2, so you're positive and negative. So it's wired to 1 ohm internally. So you do want to power this with a 1 ohm amp to get 400 watts RMS, 800 watts peak. There are no feet on the bottom of this, but the carpet does a good job at staying in place. It did not move whatsoever on my way here, and it probably won't in your car, especially if you have carpeted floor mats in your back trunk or even the rubber mats. It should stay in place, but if you are worried about it, you can get some feet and attach them to the bottom. So behind the grill, it does house that 12-inch sub, which you can remove this grill. It just kind of sits in there. You can take a flathead screwdriver and pry it out, and you can pop it back in if you want to. We will do that in this video because this is an interesting design underneath here. This is not like any other Skar sub that they sell individually. This one looks a little bit different. So I'm gonna pop this grill off and I'll leave it off for the demo and let you guys see the speaker itself. So check out this interesting design, and interesting to me. So you have this driver here. Here's your dust cap. You have the driver, and you have this kind of surround right here. It's really hard. The whole cone is a really hard, almost plastic feeling. I don't know exactly what the material is, but I'll put up on screen. But a really stiff driver, I would say, has this ring here and then has the actual surround on the outside. I don't know that I've seen Skar make a sub that looks like this. And if they do, maybe I just haven't seen it personally. But you have what looks to be more like an 8-inch right here, and then you have the extra 4 inches of diameter with the surround here. So it's interesting. Now all of it's mechanical, it all moves together, but I'm curious to know what made them decide to have this type of ring and then the actual surround itself. Maybe this is more for integrity, maybe for quicker response, better sound quality, most likely. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some songs fired up. Again, they will be slowed down slightly so you guys can still hear an actual song and pick up some bass. All my niggas from the mud, damn near all my niggas millionaires. We gon' take it there, I swear. You gon' think a nigga psychic. You ain't seen nothing like this. I should probably copyright this. I promise they ain't gon' like
bag, you know it's like fucking charges. Pop out the courtroom like what charges? Big pimpin' on your court steps. In case y'all ain't noticed, I ain't lost yet. Y'all know it's 1-to-1 soon as you hear that. Right. Y'all know the difference, right? From rap facts and fiction, right? Shit. Real life I'm like hoes. Real life I'm like goals. In real life they like me. In real life I'm like no. My swag different. That bag different, huh? My wife Beyonce. I brand different. My baby blue. What else? I dream the color. What else? That's too much flavor. What else? I don't rap the suckers. God bless you all. Only talk special talk. Only talk special talk. Said I only talk special.
All right, so hopefully you guys got a little bit of a demo out of that. Not sure how well that translates over to YouTube, but I am thoroughly impressed with the amount of bass that this thing can bring to you and how good it sounds. I did crank this up pretty good. I mean, it definitely handles a lot more than 400 watts for sure. It's 800 watts peak. I was probably giving it closer to about 700 watts RMS. It did start to smell, but that's because I just got it this morning. It is about 12 o'clock right now, and I haven't broken it in. So you're smelling glue and all that other stuff loosening up. But as far as the temperature of the sub, it is ice cold to the touch. So there is nothing wrong with the sub at all. So you can put some pretty good power to this. I'd say 700 watts max RMS, actually 700 watts RMS would be the max wattage that I would put to this thing to be safely be able to turn it up. Don't put 5,000 like I just did, but I do like it. So let's talk about the performance of it. So how it sounds, sound quality is really good, and that helps with the rigidity of the cone. It's very stiff, so it moves very quickly and stops on a dime. So that's really good. The box itself is a good size for the driver too. I think it's a good price to performance ratio, so it's not too big of a box, but it does serve its purpose. I think a little bit bigger of a box would give us a better bass response. It's rated down to 27 hertz, which isn't bad at all, but a little bit bigger of a box would have given us a little more output down there. But for the price, I can't complain at all on the box or the build quality. Let's talk about that port. So I told you that the vented port was an issue. This thing has a lot of port chuffing. If you know what port chuffing is, it's when air is escaping the box through that port and you can hear it pass through. It is absolutely terrible on this sub. Now, you can't really hear it from the driver's seat, but standing here or sitting in the back seat, you can hear that air release through the port. The port is just simply too small for the amount of air that this sub can move. So when you start turning it up to pretty moderate to loud volumes, you really start hearing the air passing through the port. So this could be helped by having a bigger port or making it round instead of kind of this half oval shape. It would help it so much more. So that is a little bit of a nitpick for me. Overall, this is a solid sub. It is 150% worth the $150 you're going to spend on it. I would skip past the 8 and the 10-inch version and go straight to the 12 because it's not that big. It's a lot more performance and it's about the same money. I think there's $20 difference between like the 10 and the 12 or whatever. So this is the better value. This is the better price, and it looks like it'll hold up well. You don't want to move this a lot. You don't want to let this slide around a lot because over time this carpet could fray. It will look pretty bad. But how it is out of the box is mint. I don't see seams or anything, loose ends. So really good build quality, pretty good sound quality, subpar venting. Overall, I think it's worth the money. So guys, leave me a comment down below and let me know, have you heard any of the tube subs from Skar or anybody else? And what do you think about them? Is there a place in the car audio scene for these kind of subs? Why aren't people running these more often? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hit that like button. There will be a link to this for you guys if you want to pick up your own. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. KPS Guy out. Peace.